change it every 20 minutes.
Graham, great.
On you.
Good on you.
On you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Morning.
I know what you guys about. I see you guys rolling through. Oh my God, bring Julian Assange.
Oh, they take some
Nice to see all your beautiful faces. In a country we like to think is a democracy. New Attorney General Mark Dreyfus has said that he thinks it's time for Assange to be released and bring the matter to an end. And so is Anthony Albanese, and we're very pleased and hoping that they're going to honour their commitments to doing the right thing. We haven't seen any evidence of any wrongdoing whatsoever.
I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the original owners, inhabitants and custodians of this fine land. Pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. A new Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, has been saying for years with regards to Julian Assange that enough is enough. And when questioned in a press conference the other day, the question was put to him, is he going to do something for Julian? He's been talking about doing something, but is he actually going to do something? And his quick response was that loudhailer diplomacy is not necessarily the way to go. And he's encouraging us to stop our protests. And we will not be stopping our protests. It's because of our protests that he is trying to change the subject. He's trying to bury it. What he's saying is, trust me. I'll sort it out secretly, privately. Trust me, you can all go home and pull the doona over your head and everything will be all right in the morning. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't believe it for a second. And we're gonna ramp up. We're gonna turn up the loudhailer, louder and louder. And we're going to insist that our new Prime Minister does what our old Prime Minister refused to do. And that was act in the best interests of Australia and Australian citizens, and specifically Julian Assange. Every minute that Julian Assange spends in jail is 1 minute too long. And it's now been over 3 years. And before that it was 7 years holed up in an Ecuadorian embassy. Before that it was 18 months of house arrest. Before that it started with 10 days in solitary confinement. That was 12 years ago. This man has been detained in one form or another for 12 years. Absolute corruption. Illegal, immoral, and just plain cruel. They will not get away with this. Even though they control the media, ultimately they cannot control the truth. The truth is out. A very short search on the internet will reveal all the truths. The truths are unstoppable. They're coming out of every corner of the earth. It's an avalanche of truth. And those that are manipulating the truth know that their time is coming, and their manipulation of the truth is getting more bizarre.
Veritas, the Roman goddess of truth, was said to be hidden at the bottom of a holy well. When that elusive god emerges, the guilty are shamed by their secrets and the truth of their crimes and corruption. The guilty don't want the public aware of their lies and deceptions. They don't want their gravy trains stopped. They want to stay warm and comfortable under their blanket of lies. Orwell said, speaking the truth in times of universal deceit is a revolutionary act. Truth is treason in an empire of lies. The US and its allies, known as the Coalition of the Willing, which included the UK and Australia, invaded Iraq based on lies. We were told that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. We watched Colin Powell address the United Nations Security Council and hold up a vial of an unknown substance, which was used to try to convince the world that Saddam Hussein was a threat, that Iraq may have anthrax, which is what the vial was supposed to contain. But that was false. And yet we went ahead and invaded Iraq. Following 9/11, letters laced with anthrax began appearing in the US mail. 5 Americans were killed and 17 became ill as a result. We were told that Saddam Hussein was probably behind it. However, investigations by the FBI found that the anthrax contained in the letters originated within the US itself. FBI officials stated that they were about to bring charges against Dr. Bruce Ivans, who worked as a senior biodefense researcher at the US Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases. Unfortunately, Dr. Ivans killed himself before charges could be laid. We will never know what he may have revealed had he lived. The key witness for the US, Thordenson, admitted to fabricating accusations and lying in his testimony at Julian Assange's extradition hearing. He was being paid by the FBI and he was protected against criminal charges. Since admitting to his lies, he has been arrested by his Icelandic police. Lies and smears about Julian have been spread by mainstream media and politicians for over a decade. This has been done in order to dehumanise Julian and destroy his reputation and public support. Julian said if war can be started by lies, peace can be started by truth. He believed that people would want the powerful held accountable and the innocent would be protected. People are waking up to the truth being revealed. Australians don't want Julian to die in a US jail for uncovering truths. Julian wasn't arrested for telling lies, he was arrested for revealing truth. The situation is dire, as we all know. If Julian Assange is extradited to the US, we know he will die there. Australia should protect her citizen. She should not allow a Walkley Award-winning journalist to die for telling the truth. Free inmate, our mate, Julian Assange.
Free Julian Assange!
Free Julian Assange! Inmate
Our mate.
Julian Assange! Welcome to the 132nd week of Julian Assange Sydney Town Hall gatherings. Julian Assange fully understood the power of truth. Truth is necessary if we want things to work reliably. Democracy is functional only when voters are truthfully informed. Justice is possible only when a jury has access to irrefutable truth. Medicine is useful only when it is proven to be beneficial over the long term. Our well-being depends on us knowing the truth. When we know the truth, we are able to interact with our world effectively. Unfortunately, there are cases when we don't know the truth, when we are deceived, or are simply not well enough informed. When we are given information, we are unable to know if it is useful unless we are given evidence to support it. Journalism is in the public interest when it is backed up with supporting evidence. With a truthful understanding of the world, we are able to act in our best interests rather than conform with a coercive authority. Julian gave us large amounts of evidence, proving our politicians and media regularly hide evidence and lie to us. In the past, we have accepted wars because we have been told lies. Wars are often kept going because the truth about them has not been forthcoming from our politicians nor from our media. When the truth about war is widely known, politicians and media are forced into bringing those wars to a close. We must remember that the US was forced to officially pull out of Iraq on the strength of evidence published by Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. The wrongdoing of corrupt power is regularly hidden and lied about. Corrupt power knows full well that it will not be able to persist in its corruption if the truth about its crimes is widely known. Large media organisations operate to control what information is readily known to the public. Julian upset corrupt power by revealing the modus operandi of the mainstream media. Because of Julian, we know we cannot trust a word of what our media and politicians tell us. Our only viable course of action is to suspend trust in mainstream narratives and demand we are provided with substantive evidence before we accept anything that they say. The media string us along, manipulate us, fan the flames of baseless fears and provide false hopes in the form of highly seductive corporate advertising. Our politicians lie to us and do everything to avoid real and open debate with anyone who is critical of our government's policies. Whistleblowers are demonised and dragged through prolonged court battles that sap their wealth and their health. Truthful journalists are forced to publish independently. Big tech companies, including Google and Facebook, actively prevent us from discovering the truth and attempt to lock us into the mainstream narratives. The truth is powerful. Speaking the truth is powerful. Free speech is powerful. The smearing of Julian Assange is a distraction from the truth and the source of our own power. The persecution of Julian Assange is to intimidate us so that we are scared away from speaking freely and truthfully. Julian Assange is the journalist who revealed the truth. Julian Assange is the one who revealed that corrupt power is fearful and vulnerable to truth. It is evident that we need to make the truth as widely known as possible to defeat corrupt power. It is obvious we are not being told the truth by our politicians, nor by the media. It is plain to see that Julian Assange is being persecuted on behalf of corrupt power because he successfully placed the truth in our hands. We must not be distracted. Truth is our power. We have the power to free Assange by spreading the truth. The truth will set all of us free. Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange! Thank you.
Hi there. So some little time back we were talking about the former Liberal Party Australian Foreign Affairs Minister Marise Payne claiming that Australia could not intervene in the case of Julian Assange because it was before the courts in Britain. So I note in the Saturday paper quite recently, last Saturday, Mr Corbyn, the former British Labour leader, refuted Marise Payne's comment. And Mr Corbyn actually said that Australia should speak up for its own, and Australian politicians should speak up for their own. And most interestingly, Mr Corbyn said that whilst in Britain there are, for good reason, constraints about raising the Assange matter in Parliament because it's a sub judice matter, that does not apply in Australia, Mr Corbyn said. There is no legal case in Australia, so there is nothing to stop every Australian politician speaking up with Julian Assange. That was a quote from Jeremy Corbyn, the former Labour leader of Britain, and it actually says that, you know, Marise Payne's comment in the debate against Labour's Penny Wong just before the election is wrong. And we should note that. That's really important. So all the politicians of Australia need to speak up about this matter, and we need to get Julian Assange released, regardless of whether it's before the courts or not.
We are all Assange.